The following footage was recorded by a man named Abdel in July of 2025. Abdel, who is a Spanish YouTuber, was documenting his visit to an abandoned psychiatric hospital when he unexpectedly encountered something that caused him to run for his life. In the video, Abdel, along with two of his friends, were exploring a notoriously haunted psychiatric hospital located in a remote part of Spain. The first few minutes of their exploration went pretty smoothly. They were able to explore the building in relative peace, and they didn't see or hear anything to indicate that it was haunted. Although they occasionally felt a bit on edge and paranoid because of the building's eerie atmosphere, they mostly joked around and even pranked each other, and overall were having a pretty good time. This continued for nearly the next 15 minutes, and it did appear as though the explorers were completely alone inside the building. They then decided to leave that section and eventually chose to check out the upper levels. However, as they were approaching the nearest staircase, that's when they stumbled upon something extremely bizarre.
Imagínate los locos que han tenido que vivir aquí. Estamos en un sitio donde han estado gente mal de la cabeza. Gente que puede que haya asesinado a alguien y lo tengan abajo, en plan arriba encadenado porque estaba loco. Y es una locura.
Seguro que ha fallecido gente y todo aquí.
No, sí. Habrá fallecido gente. ¿Por qué? ¿Tú qué te pasa? Te veo raro.
Estoy bien, Asa. Estoy bien.
No estás bien. No. Primero vamos al otro lado. Oh, Dios, que tengo mucha calor. ¿Qué ha sido eso? ¿Se ha escuchado arriba o algo?
Escucho algo raro.
Se ha escuchado arriba.
After hearing the sound of footsteps running through the upper levels, the explorers suspected a squatter might be responsible for the noises. The trio eventually decided to go upstairs and investigate the source of the commotion. During their investigation, they thoroughly searched the various rooms, but despite their efforts, they unfortunately found nothing that could have caused those noises. They then left that section and decided to investigate the opposite side of the building. However, as they were walking through the hallway, they began hearing voices that strangely sounded like a woman, and before they could react or even process what it was, they suddenly spotted an old woman emerging from a room.
Eres un hablador.
Hola, que voy a empezar a pegar gritos aquí, hermano.
Bro, ¿pero por qué haces como que no te da miedo nada?
Claro que no.
Pero...
Oh, bebí igual y no he visto nada. Hola. Hola. Buenas. No, estamos grabando un vídeo. No, si quieres no te enfocamos, ¿eh? ¿Te estamos molestando algo?
Hombre, intentaba dormir.
Perdón, lo sentimos, ¿eh?
No, tranquilo.
¿Vives sola para no molestar más? En plan, que si hay más gente no molestamos más.
No, estoy sola, tranquilo.
¿Pero en todo el bloque?
Sí.
Vale,
¿Solo tú?
Sí.
Vale. ¿Quieres salir en el vídeo un momentito o no te...?
No, gracias.
Vale. Perdón por molestar, ¿eh?
Perdón, ¿eh?
Tranquilo,
Oh, sí. ¿Qué pasa?
The old woman, who sadly appeared to be homeless, suddenly emerged from the room, completely catching the explorers off guard and causing them to jump up. As they began talking to her, they realized she had been sleeping inside the building and had woken up due to their unexpected presence. When they asked if they could interview her, she declined, likely wanting to go back to sleep and avoid dealing with the trio, considering that it was extremely late at night. She also mentioned that she wasn't alone and that the entire block was inhabited by other people. The explorers, realizing their mistake, eventually apologized, stating they hadn't meant to wake or disturb her, as they were simply trying to explore the hospital. After this brief but somewhat strange exchange, the trio began walking away and headed to the end of the hallway, but they didn't leave the building immediately, as they began discussing the woman and also started questioning the entire interaction, given that they later felt extremely weird and creeped out about this encounter. However, as they were trying to make sense of the situation, the old woman poked her head out of the room, and just moments later, she ran towards the explorers and actively started chasing them out of the building.
Son perros. ¿Sabes que cuando ladran los perros es porque hay demonios, no?
Bro, a mí no me entra en la cabeza que esté aquí una mujer donde hay... Bro, que es una locura, hermano, estar aquí solo, estar loco.
Acaba de sacar la cabeza.
Come on, como casar. Snakes. Cuidado. A ver, como. Hood, left. Hood. Me salía. A ver, qué malazo. Se han escuchado perros. Cállate. What's the thing? You said, what's the thing?
As soon as the old lady poked her head out of the room, the explorers immediately began making their way down the stairs. However, the woman, instead of returning back to her room, chose to pursue the trio and relentlessly started chasing them. The explorers, recognizing the dangerously escalating situation, immediately began distancing themselves from her, heading straight towards the exit. Fortunately for them, they managed to escape the building without any harm and were able to successfully outrun the old lady. They then immediately got into their vehicle and drove as far away as they could from the building. Once they were out of danger and away from the woman, they noted they were completely shaken up by her reaction and acknowledged that the whole situation was incredibly strange. Additionally, they also expressed immense relief at their safe escape and were grateful that none of them were hurt or injured during this chilling encounter. If you've enjoyed the video so far, it would mean a lot if you considered subscribing. Over 95% of you watching haven't subscribed yet. Your support really helps the channel grow, and in return, I promise to keep bringing you guys the best quality content. Now let's get back to the video. These right here are two YouTubers named Alex and Cole, who in January of 2023 uploaded a video titled "Exploring an Abandoned Mansion Deep in Kentucky Woods" to their channel, SPRT72. Their channel primarily focuses on urban exploration, with their main objective being adventure, but also with the goal of documenting the essence of these often forgotten and derelict environments. In this particular video, Alex and Cole, accompanied by one of their friends, set out to explore an abandoned mansion deep in the Kentucky wilderness. As the trio began their exploration, they parked their car at the nearest gas station and continued the rest of the journey on foot. Since there were no roads leading to the abandoned mansion, they ventured deep into the woods and began navigating their way through the dense field. During this time, they stumbled upon a deserted campsite that appeared to be a homeless camp or a makeshift shelter. But they didn't think too much about this detail and dismissed it, as they didn't encounter anything unusual, nor did they see any homeless individuals nearby. After walking for a while, they eventually found a path that led them towards the abandoned property. Once at the mansion, they decided to search the surroundings to ensure they wouldn't encounter any homeless individuals or squatters who were living inside. They then began calling out, trying to make their presence known, as they didn't want to run into or disturb either of these groups. However, as they were investigating their surroundings, that's when they encountered something extremely bizarre.
Look at this place. This is insane.
We should probably check for homeless people.
Yeah. You want to check for homeless people real fast?
Yeah.
Here.
Dude, this place has been destroyed.
Hello?
Is there anybody in here?
Yeah, I keep hearing it.
Just say hello. We hear you.
Do you want us to leave?
There's someone here.
So someone's definitely here. They're upstairs. We hear them right now. They can probably hear us, but they won't say anything. Hello?
Hey, I think I'm gonna go in.
You're gonna go in?
Yeah. Look right over here. There's an entrance. You ready?
After hearing the footsteps and loud bangs, the explorers immediately froze in place and listened intently, trying to determine the source of the sounds. They ultimately concluded that the noises must have been caused by a homeless individual or a squatter living inside the mansion. However, one particular comment on the explorers' original video makes this encounter even more alarming. The comment noted that when the trio initially looked at the window to the right of the door, their camera captured a hand gripping the window, but when they checked it later, the hand was gone.
You're gonna go in?
Yeah. Look right over here. There's an entrance.
Look right over here. There's an entrance.
Although the object gripping the window appeared to be a scrawny, dark hand, it's difficult to definitively say if it actually was a hand or if the camera captured something else entirely. But regardless of the comment's validity or the object's nature, the explorers didn't notice this detail at the time and remained focused on the noises that were originating from the building. By this point, they had already suspected the presence of a squatter or a homeless individual and were understandably a bit startled by the commotion. But despite their growing concern, the explorers ultimately decided to investigate the source of the noises and eventually started walking towards its direction, regardless of any potential presence.
Going in here. Look at the floor. Hey, I'm about to look up the stairs. I'm gonna yell up there. Dude, I'm getting bad vibes.
I know.
The fireplace.
Is someone up there?
I mean, why is this place abandoned? It could be a ghost or something.
Yeah. There's either someone in here right now or a ghost is making the loudest noises I've ever heard.
Upon hearing the footsteps for the second time, the explorers immediately went towards the stairs and began calling out. But despite their efforts, they unfortunately received no response. During this time, they began hearing the noises again and realized the sounds only originated when they moved closer to their source, and for some bizarre reason would abruptly stop whenever they paused or tried to listen. For the next few minutes, the trio remained at the bottom of the staircase, contemplating whether to go upstairs and investigate or simply just leave the building. They ultimately decided not to leave and chose to go upstairs to figure out the truth behind all the commotion. However, as soon as they walked up the stairs, that's when they encountered something once again.
Hey, I'm gonna walk up to this little platform. I say one at a time, bro. I'm about to turn the corner. Hello?
How do you feel about this?
It's either a person or a ghost. I don't know which one's scarier.
Hey, there's wet footsteps up there, like people, like, bro. Tell me if you hear it.
What are you doing up there?
Oh my God, this. What is going on?
You all heard that one, right? Y'all.
At this point, we're sharing this place. Like, we got people above us while we're down here.
As soon as they reached the top of the stairs, they began hearing some voices, and just moments later, they heard a loud bang, which immediately prompted them to run down the stairs. By this point, the explorers were confident that someone was definitely inside the building and were thoroughly overwhelmed by everything that they were witnessing that night. But their sense of determination and a touch of curiosity proved too strong, as they eventually decided to investigate the upper levels, but this time choosing a different staircase, which was located on the opposite side of the building.
he's not in there, then he's to our back, bro. Last floor, bro. Hello? Hello? I don't think there's anyone in here. Someone's in here to make sure that it was or wasn't a person.
This is where we heard the footsteps.
Yeah, this is the last room. Oh my god. Reed's taking one for the team. You seen anyone? There's no.
Bro, there's no one in here? That's not possible.
Do we keep going?
We gotta know if this is a ghost or a human.
We're going into the second half of the house, I guess. There's a bird. These are the stairs that we came up earlier.
This is where we heard the footsteps.
Yeah, these are the steps.
This is it. We've seen the whole place. There's no one.
Hello? No way. There's nobody here.
Nobody's here.
Bro.
Oh.
If there's no one here, then this might be the most haunted place we've ever been to. Like, seriously.
We were fully convinced that a homeless person was in here. That's how loud the footsteps were.
After thoroughly searching through each and every one of the rooms, the explorers were completely baffled to find no signs of anyone or anything. Their failed investigation and previous encounters ultimately led them to believe the house might actually be haunted, considering that their earlier suspicions regarding a homeless individual now seemed almost impossible. With this in mind, they decided to conduct a test, where they would go downstairs to see if they would hear the noises again if they called out.
I think we should go back downstairs, call up to it again, and see if we hear it.
Yeah. Alright, yeah, let's do it.
Serious? No person? That is actually blowing my mind. I cannot believe that wasn't a person.
Alright, ready? I'm gonna call up there. Is there anyone up there? If so, say something or make a noise. It's completely silent now.
Despite the explorers' repeated efforts of trying to communicate, they unfortunately received no response, only an eerie silence. Feeling extremely confused, the trio decided to leave the building, but not before exploring the basement, the only section they hadn't yet entered. However, as soon as they entered the basement, that's when they made a shocking discovery.
Oh yeah, there it is.
666.
Boys, I'm heading down.
So this is the entrance to hell. This is how you get to the back rooms.
Plus, there's a f***ing body down here. Whoa, guys. Oh my god, there's bones. Come down here. Look, it's a boiler. What is up with this, guys? Y'all tell me. Is this animal? Is this human? What's going on here? Because these are bones.
Has there been like a sacrifice done here or something?
It would explain to being haunted.
Yeah, absolutely. We should walk in that room.
Yeah, let's go see what's in here. It says he's watching. What's going on in here? Yo, this is evil.
This is like a normal place.
Yo, this is evil. What the f***? It's like a cave. Look at all the shit on the walls. Swastika.
Well, that's 666 anyway.
I'm not going down there.
Anyone in there?
All right, y'all, we're saying goodbye to the basement. The basement. This place is evil.
Look at
I'm
that
telling you.
face. That face is evil. So now we go up.
After venturing into the basement, the explorers were startled to see multiple bones lying on the floor, which were disturbingly reminiscent of a setup for some type of ritual or black magic. When they entered one of the rooms, they found even more bones and some demonic symbols and writings on the walls. With these findings, they were even more convinced that the house was haunted and the basement was also evil. After these chilling discoveries, the trio decided to end their exploration and leave the building. Fortunately for them, they didn't encounter anything unusual again and were able to get back to their cars without any harm. It's still unclear who or what was responsible for the footsteps and the noises that they heard earlier, along with the mystery of whether what they encountered that night was paranormal. However, based on everything they witnessed that night, it's hard to definitively say this was a paranormal event. It's more likely that the commotion was caused by a homeless individual or a squatter, given that the explorers only heard the noises when they got closer, making it more obvious that the individual was likely trying to scare them with those noises, as they didn't want to be spotted or disturbed. When the explorers investigated the upper floors and found nothing, the individual probably hid inside a room or could have even quietly left the mansion, given that they likely knew the building's layout better than the explorers, which might explain why they didn't find anyone despite their efforts. Ultimately, it's up to you to decide whether what Alex and Cole encountered that day was merely caused by a homeless individual or whether it was something far more sinister. The following footage was uploaded to the YouTube channel Jacob Skates in November of 2025. In the video, an urban explorer named Jacob was documenting his visit to a deserted but somewhat sketchy neighborhood and had just ventured into one of the abandoned houses. The first few minutes of this segment were anything but unusual, as it simply follows and captures Jacob exploring what appears to be an old abandoned house. But as the video progresses and he reaches the top floor, he suddenly hears some faint noises originating from a dark section of the building. Jacob then slowly turns his flashlight and cautiously starts walking towards the commotion. However, as soon as he enters the room, that's when he stumbles upon something extremely disturbing.
I can't jump out over there, but there's a little bedroom. Right here seems to be another bedroom. There's those scaffolds right there. That could be an entrance out or entrance in. It's pretty cool. What the f is that?
Yo, hello? Yo, hello? Yo, what the Yo, hello?
Guys, I think this is water. I'm gonna back up a little bit. I'm gonna approach him.
Yo, what the Yo, hello? I'm just an urbex explorer. I'm just an urbex explorer.
By this point, Jacob had realized that a squatter was hiding inside the room and was repeatedly calling out, trying to assure him that he meant no harm and was simply there to explore the building. But despite his efforts, the individual, for some bizarre reason, remained completely silent and did not respond at all. Although Jacob was a bit anxious and creeped out by this whole ordeal, he eventually moved towards the man to check if he was all right. However, as soon as he walked towards the room, that's when the individual lunged up and aggressively started chasing him.
Yo, hello?
Yo, what the
Yo, hello? Yo, bro.
The man, who had his back turned and was curled in a fetal position, suddenly jumped up and began chasing after Jacob. Fearful for his life, he immediately started running away and began making his way toward the nearest exit. Luckily for him, he successfully outran the man and was able to jump out the window and get back to safety. However, upon reviewing this footage, this whole encounter does seem a bit suspicious and could even be fabricated, especially considering that the man waited several seconds to attack Jacob and only did so when Jacob got him on camera. Furthermore, the fact that Jacob's video abruptly ends as soon as he jumps out the window and doesn't provide any further updates regarding the situation only makes things more suspicious. Ultimately, like always, it's up to you to decide whether this altercation was authentic or whether this was simply an elaborate hoax.